you doing, my friends? Welcome to the next episode of Where to Start, a little show that we do here on my channel, where we cover the best stories to jump into if you want to learn more about a specific character or supervillain. So like if you're like, I don't know where to start, boom, you watch Where to Start. That's how it works. And last week we covered Batman, and this week we're talking about Bat's son. Billy Batson, that is. I don't know why I gave it that weird accent there. But yes, Shazam is coming out next week, so of course we have to talk about Billy Batson. Come on, this guy, he's got the wisdom of Solomon. He's got the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas. He's got the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and even the speed of Mercury. S-H-A-Z. Okay, I get why they call him that now. Anyways, before we jump into what stories you should start with, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel and you like this video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I'd appreciate it a lot, and I think if you like this video, you'll like the other things that we do here on the channel. And of course, if you want to see the other episodes of Where to Start, I've actually got a link, all the links down below, so go check those ones out as well. So, I think it's time that we jump into Where to Start. Hey, hold on. So, I know other Joven is talking about Where to Start with Shazam, and before we get into the rest of that, this is going to take a second. We here have to keep the lights and the power on at the Jovenshire studios, and we're going to do that by me talking about my new Bluetooth speaker I got from Cove. We've got the commuter here. Now, you guys may have known I was in the market for a good Bluetooth speaker, and I found one. Of course, it's a Bluetooth speaker, so it connects to your phone, your computer, your tablet. You can be up to 30 feet away, and it will be uninterrupted, amazing sound. And on top of that, it's waterproof, so you can have it at a pool party, you can have it at the beach, or you can be like me and just have it here in the studio, then move it over towards the bathroom when you want to take a shower and still listen to a podcast or music. Now you're probably wondering, that's great, I'm glad that you like it, Joven, but does it sound good? Well, let's find out. Let's ask the Avengers if it sounds good. Listening to the Avengers theme song, because that's how I do. It's got two different modes. You've got normal, and you got X-Bass, going straight from the speakers here, through the microphone, into your ear holes. It's that good. Legitimate, I only like to work with partners and brands that I actually like and that I actually use. This is a Bluetooth speaker I use every single day, and if you would like to use it too, guess what? I'm going to hook you up with 65% off of the commuter from Cove. I've got a link down below. You can click there, go find it, use the code JOV65. That's right, 65% if you want this, because if I'm using something and I love it, I want to share it with you guys, so boom. Now, go back to other Joven talking about Where to Start with Shazam. Now, a funny thing about family is that we all have them, even superheroes. Superman has the Kents. Batman has got Alfred. But even Billy Batson's got some family. Now, before we jump into his family, I do want to mention that way back in the day, before he was known as Shazam, that it was actually just Captain Marvel. That was his name. DC lost the rights. Don't worry, Sam Jackson's not going to jump into this story as well. It's just Shazam now, but back when he was Captain Marvel, he had some family, and there was Captain Marvel Jr. That's right, Billy Batson was Captain Marvel, and Freddie Freeman was Captain Marvel Jr. And back during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a whole different story that one day we'll try to tackle, a lot happened there, but the mantle of Captain Marvel was actually shifting and changing to someone else. And in this particular story, we see Freddie Freeman really try to become his own hero, and he can't just say Shazam! Shazam! And then he gets the powers kind of like how Billy did. In this case, he actually has to go through these trials to be able to earn the powers, but at the same time, this evil sorceress is also going against him. So it's a great, wonderful coming-of-age story that shows you a different type of origin story for the second version of Captain Marvel. Now, yes, it's not the one that you're going to see on the big screen, but still a great story. And if you want to jump into more of a recent story of Captain Marvel, now, just a great story to jump into to understand the other characters in this universe. For the next story arc that we're talking about, we're going to stick with the theme of family here. It's a running thing with Shazam. Anyways, during Final Crisis in the New 52, Grant Morrison actually takes it upon himself to be like, hey, this is all the different Earths and different universes, and in Multiversity, a little small run about how they're all connected. On Earth 5, we find out that Billy Batson is there, and that's the Earth that we know it, and we're going to get introduced to more of his family. But on this little Earth 5, you have Dr. Sylvanas, and he's actually going out and getting infinite versions of himself from all the different Earths and bringing them together, and what they are doing is they're creating crystallized time. Now that sounds really cool, right? Well, guess what? All they wound up doing with it was making an 8th day out of the week. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad guy here, because at the same time, I'm like, long weekend every weekend, I'm into it. But they actually use the extra time to capture Shazam. Not Captain Marvel, but Shazam, the entity that gives Shazam or Captain Marvel his powers. It gets confusing after the name change. Anyways, so obviously Captain Marvel has to come and save the day and fight all the different Dr. Sylvanas. But it's not just him, he's got his whole family. So we talked about Captain Marvel Jr., he's there. You've got Mary Marvel, you've got the Lieutenant Marvels, and Mr. Taki Tani. You know, that's what it is. And back in the day, it was actually just a talking tiger in a suit. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I really just wanted to mention that there was a talking tiger in a suit called Mr. Taki Tani. Hey, you're the one that wanted to learn more about Captain Marvel and find out where he's from and read some interesting stories, so I'm giving you an interesting story. Now, this story is very fun, but it gives you a look at Shazam, Captain Marvel, his entire family, and some more villains. It's a fun story to read, to be able to take in all that information. So if you're not just looking for dark and broody like the DC Universe normally has and want something a little bit more lighthearted and fun, this is a great place to start. Boom! Look at that. On to the next story. Have you ever wondered what would happen if an evil worm tried to join Nazis and take down a superhero? If so, boy, do I have a really random story for you. Now, yes, we're going back to the early 1940s with this, which, yeah, who knew that Captain Marvel Shazam started way back then? But it's true. Anyways, you've got Mr. Mind, right? He's this villain, he's trying to join the Nazis, and has been trying to take down Captain Marvel for 20 issues. So it was this story arc that lasted that long. Anyways, over this period of time, he actually gets, he's in charge of a group of villains, a bunch of different Captain Marvel villains. So it was called the Monster Society of Evil, and that was the arc from the early 1940s, and it found Mr. Mind in charge of a bunch of villains of Captain Marvel. And it's an interesting story because you actually see it through the eyes of a bunch of villains, and you get a bunch of their tales over the course of a long period of time. There's even a villain called Captain Nazi. That's what we're working with here. And just to top it off, Captain Nazi was created by the order of, you know, it was Adolf Hitler that wanted it. Adolf Hitler was like, give me... Nope, not doing it. Anyways, there's a bunch of weird bad guys because it's a weird, campy time for comics. That's just what comics were like back then. It was a little propaganda-y, and it's just what it was. Now, I know there's a lot of camp here, and it's an old story, but honestly, when it comes to the golden age of comics, this is a story that actually holds up better than others. So if you want a classic look at Captain Marvel Shazam, and you want to see like a bunch of his villains, this is a way to do it. I think stuff like this is important. Like, comic books weren't just popular in the last 20 years. There's a bunch of stories from the 1940s that we should never forget about, and if you have the chance to read them, you absolutely should, because how else will you learn about Mr. Mind, Captain Mind? It's a worm, man. It's a worm that joined Nazis, and then you had Captain Nazi and Captain Marvel, and boy, the 40s in comics. Wasn't it beautiful? And there you have it. If you're interested in learning more about Captain Marvel / Shazam and you wanted a good place where to start, well, here are just some choice stories for you to get started. Now, there are some other great stories, and if you've read some of them, please share them in the comments below, because I want to talk to you about those issues. And if you are new to comics, that's just more information, other great comics that other fans could leave in the comments below to see, like, hey, maybe I'll read this one also. Of course, in the description, I have the different story arcs and the titles of these, so if you want to search for them on Comixology or on Amazon or at your local comic book store, do all of that. Anyways, I also have links to the other episodes of Where to Start with Batman and Captain Marvel. The original Captain Marvel. I am just realizing that I have two episodes of Captain Marvel in the span of 3 episodes. I'm done, guys. These were some crazy stories, and I hope you read them, and I hope you like them. Stay tuned for next Friday, where we've got another episode. Let me know who you want me to cover in the comments below, because that's why we do this. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't already. Until the next time, I'll see you later.